Flight Opportunities is a program that is intended to get technology payloads into near space or space relevant environments, and we hire commercial firms to provide space relevant environments for us. And we also have parabolic flights and near space, like I mentioned. The high altitude flights that we hire from commercial providers are what we call SRLVs, which are suborbital reusable launch vehicles. So commercial reusable launch vehicles are what we seek from commercial providers.
And what kind of contracts do you have with the providers for those vehicles? Who other than the parabolic arcs, like you said, what other type of vehicles would you be using?
So we have 7 firms on contract, and it's all under an IDIQ, indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity contract. It's a $10 million contract for a 2-year period of performance. And we have 7 firms on contract: Armadillo Aerospace, X-Corp, these won't be in any particular order, Virgin Galactic, Near Space Corporation, which is a near space balloon system, the Whitting Hill Aerospace, and I'm sure I've forgotten one already, Maston Space Systems, and Virgin Galactic, and Up Aerospace.
I understand that Maston Aerospace is going to be using an old pad at Cape Canaveral to be doing their test flights or their launches for this program. Is that correct?
No, that's actually not correct. They do have a contract with Cape Canaveral to do some flying for them and some operational demonstration. But for our particular program, they may or may not choose to fly there. And it's up to them. It's up to the commercial provider to decide where to fly, unless the payload requirement dictated a particular geographical location. They get to fly where they normally fly from. And in the case of Maston Space Systems, it's out of Mojave, California. If they have our payload on board and happen to fly out of the Cape, that's entirely up to them. We don't have any particular constraint on where they fly.
Thank you for clarifying that for me.
Sure, you bet.
So what kind of technology demonstrators are going to be part of this program, at least thus far?
The actual vehicles themselves?
No, not the vehicles, the actual technology that's going to be sent to the near space environments.
Okay. So it varies quite a bit, and the parameters that we place on which technology payloads come to fly with us are governed primarily by what we call the OCT roadmaps, or the Space Technology Program roadmaps. There are 13 technology areas within the roadmaps, and the payloads that we actually select to fly on our platforms will have to be in alignment with those technology areas. And there are 13 of them, so I couldn't recite them, but they span the gamut from propulsion to human systems to observatory systems, propulsion systems that's either on the ground or in space, and many others.
So how was it that you first got started working with this program?
So I started working with this program through some work with the IPO, the Innovative Partnerships Office at headquarters. I was following the commercial space activity for my center, Dryden, and I got involved that way through the IPO. And the IPO was shepherding an initiative called CRUISER, Commercial Reusable Suborbital Research. And CRUISER became the Flight Opportunities Program in 2011. And I was already following the commercial space activity with IPO, and I was asked to lead the Flight Opportunities Program.
Wow. So how was it that you first got started with NASA?
I got started with NASA as a co-op back in 1988. And believe it or not, I worked in the Human Resources Department back then. I was buying a little time waiting for a slot in the Operations Engineering Department. I did 4 tours as a co-op student and interned with NASA-Dryden. I was from the area where Dryden is located, and so I was going home and getting paid to do what I love as a student, which was terrific. I did 4 tours out there as a college student, and then got hired on as a contract employee after my graduation.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how was it that you first got interested in space?
Well, I got interested in space through aircraft. My background is primarily airplanes, And I grew up in the Antelope Valley, Lancaster area of California, and saw lots of vehicles, including space vehicles like the Space Shuttle Enterprise, fly over my head. And it was quite inspirational seeing many different aircraft types. I'm on the playground playing basketball with my buddies and see space shuttles fly over, and SR-71s and F-20s, and I could go on and on and on. So I got inspired about aircraft, really. Became an aeronautical engineer, not an aerospace engineer. And eventually found myself, again, working with the commercial space activity in the IPO, getting more and more interested in space and the things that are happening within this emerging space sector.
Can you tell me what are some of the highlights of your career at NASA?
Some of the highlights of my career at NASA. That's a good question. I like to say that I can't keep a job. I've done many things at NASA-Dryden who has afforded me a great deal of flexibility in my career. I worked as a flight controls engineer on a system we called HARV, the F-18 High Alpha Research Vehicle. Worked as a contractor on that program. I also was the lead control system designer on a system called Apex. We were going to take a sailplane up by the tail on a high altitude balloon, release it and do some low Reynolds number airfoil testing at altitude. That system never flew, but I was able to help design the control system that would have been used if it did fly. I also was the lead systems engineer, and when I say systems engineer, I mean avionics and integration and test on the X-43A HyperX, Ship 1. I have worked as deputy CIO at the center and have done business development and more recently this program management job. And I would say they're all highlights for me. There's never a dull day at Dryden. There's always something cool going on, and it's great to be a part of it.